Thank you, Gertrude, for having me on here. I'm very excited to be here.
So please just tell everybody who you are, how old you are, where you're based, and what is your story.
Okay, I am 56 years old, and I live in Wheeling, West Virginia. And I call myself an inspirationista. I'm an inspirational speaker and an author and a business owner, and I'm all about helping people um, find their purpose and their passion in life. You're never too old. You're never too young. We all have work to do. We have this assignment, and it's our job to find our gifts, develop our gifts, and then give our gifts, because they're not gifts if they're not given, right?
That is so, so true. We have to share the blessings.
Right.
Now, you've had a lot of challenges in your life. I'm not even sure where to begin. Let's start with family, because I read your bio and I got a sense that you and your family went through a few tragic experiences. Do you want to talk a little bit about that first?
Sure. Back in 1999, when I was a television news anchor, and I had been one for many years. So my audience saw me start out right from college and then get married and then have my first son. And they saw me pregnant with my second son. And we had complications with that pregnancy. And I ended up having to leave work early and go on bed rest. And my son eventually passed away and died. And so I was living this very publicly, but they only mentioned the death once on the broadcast. And so I was running into people all the time in the public asking me how my baby was. And I felt so horrible because I knew I was going to have to be the one that ruined their day that day. To tell them that my son, passed away, and they would be kicking themselves all day going, why did I even ask that question? At the same time, that was very hard living that publicly, but I knew how to be out in the public eye. I knew how to be a television news anchor. I did not know how to be home and be a grieving mother. So, it's so funny how we all seek out our comfort zone, and my comfort zone just happened to be in front of a camera, but when you need to heal, that doesn't always work. And I only could keep up that charade for about a year. And then I had to leave. I had to go home and heal. My priorities became so much more important. I wanted to be home with my 3-year-old son and my husband. And I needed to step away from that. So I did. But backtracking, at that same time when we were going through this, we were supported and loved through the whole time. But there were certain key people in our life who just deserted us at that time, and so that was like a double loss. And
A little bit about that, because sounds like a recurring pattern that I'm hearing as I'm talking to more and more women.
really,
I went through a divorce, and people who I thought were my close friends took sides, and I lost a whole lot of friends who I was really close to at that time. What do you think causes that? What are people thinking? Have you processed that enough?
I have. I've actually come up with 3 things.
Mm.
I think number one, it hits too close to home. If you're married and your marriage is maybe rocky, and you see someone else who theirs dissolved, then you're like, oh my gosh, that could happen to me, and you're paralyzed in fear, so you can't go there, right? The second one is, I think that there are people who really want to step up and do something or say something, but they're so afraid that they're going to say or do the wrong thing that they don't do anything.
And
And
sometimes
then I
people
think
don't know what to say. Sometimes just being there with someone is enough without saying anything.
exactly. And then there's the other people who just don't have a clue of what to do or say, so they don't do anything. So that's how I wrote my book. I actually wrote my book called How Can I Help? And it's a go-to guide to help people when they're going through these difficult times in life. And it's not me telling you what to do. It's I interviewed people all over the place that have lost people they loved through divorce or through death, people that have been recently diagnosed with terminal or chronic illnesses, people that have lost their job. A lot of times we abandon these people when they need us the most. And it's so funny because, like you said, if we could just be there. There were two things that were prominent throughout everyone. The first one was be there. Just be there. You don't need to say a word, right?
It's so true.
Uh-huh.
It's so simple.
I know.
I'm really glad you brought that up.
Yeah. And the second thing is everybody that I had interviewed for this book, with the exception of two people, said that prayer was very important for them. And so they said just to know that someone stopped for even a split second in their day to think of you and to send up a prayer was very meaningful to them. And so, you can do that from anywhere.
Yes, you can. You can. We all can.
Mm-hmm.
How amazing. And so you changed your career?
Yes, I did. The book came out in late 2016. And I decided to step away from my broadcasting career so that I could spend more time spreading this mission and this message. Because you know what? We cannot let fear hold us back in life. That's how I lived my life for the first 54 years of my life, letting fear be the dictator. And what I have realized is the more it scares you, the more you must do it. The more you must do it. That's your leap into growth.
I read a quote the other day that said, everything you want is on the other side of fear.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is that you are somebody who has lived in front of the camera, in the public eye, most of your life. People would assume you're not fearful.
Oh,
but these are common experiences, right?
Right. There is such a difference because you know what? It's so funny. I'm in front of a camera. I'm not in front of people. And I think that our culture is a lot more comfortable being behind a camera or a keyboard instead of interacting. And this is what's so important. We need to step out in love. We need to do that. We need to know how to be with each other, how to support one another. I mean, words are nice and typing on a keyboard, but that's high tech. We need high touch. We need both.
It has to be a balance. You are so right. It has to be a balance of both. So give me 3 nuggets of wisdom that you would give somebody else who is going through a crisis like you went through. What are 3 things that you would advise them?
Give yourself the permission. I had to have the permission of a psychologist to tell me it was okay for me to go home and heal. First of all, write your own permission slip. That's the first thing. You know what you need. Your soul knows what it's calling to do. The second thing I would say is the more it scares you, the more you must do it. And especially if your heart is calling you to do it. I would say that's definitely it. And the third thing is if you step out in love, genuine love, you can't go wrong. You can have difficult conversations with people. You can meet people head on if you step out in love. We might not disagree, but I love you. And I just want you to know that, and that's not going to change. So those are the 3 keys that I would say.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for doing this interview and sharing with us.
My pleasure.
Really special that I'm getting to connect and engage with women from all over the world with this podcast series. And I'm really hoping that it not only empowers our listeners and the people who are participating in this will also stay connected, as well as a global community of women who are inspiring each other at this new age that we're in.
Oh,
so
yes.
Where can people get your book?
They can go to SherrieDunlevy.com and get it, or they can go to Amazon.com. It's SherrieDunlevy, or Amazon.com. It's called How Can I Help?
And I'll also put the link to your website with the podcast as well, so people know where to click and get your book. But thank
Okay,
you
thank you.
so much. Thank you so much, Sherrie. Take care.